The first feature that implemented was the Octane adapter support for issue linking, test suites, and test step relationship with the Tosca adapter. So this is more of extending our support for integrating the test case management tools like Octane and Tosca, and so that we'll have a seamless synchronization of the test artifacts, the data that they have executed, the entire life cycle are in sync on the platform. So the changes as such, though this test suites, test steps as an entity was being supported, the issue linking was not available. So the changes is done only on the Octane adapter. We added the issue linking support for test suites and test manual, and also the support of test steps to be synchronized to Octane test cases. And while we were doing this, we figured out like the execution list was not syncing from Tosca to even ALM and Octane that was being handled as part of this. So to give you a brief idea on how the customer's interactions or impact was like, Micro Focus is like now it is open text is fully acquired and integrated under the open text, and ALM is their legacy application lifecycle management, and Octane is their SaaS agile planning test management platform. So Value Edge is a cloud-based value stream management suite which includes ALM Octane as a quality model. It is core for the quality and test management. So the final approach we'll have probably on the Value Edge, which we are still analyzing how it works. But to go into the Value Edge, we wanted to figure out like all the Octane stuff that has been requested is working. So this is more of a unidirectional synchronization that we'll have just because there are limitations on the Octane side to push back data into Tosca. So this is how the synchronization will look like. So you'll have a Tosca test case folder or which gets created as an Octane test suites. Tosca test cases is under the test case folder, which will actually synchronize as an Octane test manual. And once this test steps are all integrated, then it's more of synchronizing the execution case log to Octane run manual. Unfortunately, so the first automation that basically we'll have is the Tosca's test case folder to Octane test suite. So this will synchronize or ensure that the test case structure is consistent across both the systems. Then under the test case folder in Tosca is where you have a test case. So we'll synchronize the test case to the Octane test step, this synchronizing the test steps and their corresponding value. So there is a change that we will see in this where the test steps, the manual as well as the automated test steps will get synchronized from Octane when it comes in. I'll show you how it look like on one of our synced records. So we'll get to know like how the test steps are getting into Octane. So the Octane test steps will have a different tagging or it'll appear like along with some, the title, steps, the status, all that will get listed with some asterisk parameters that I'll show you how it will look like. And then you'll have the automations for the executed test case log to the Octane run manual. So this will actually give you the execution list, like it consolidates all the results on both the systems and the failures are all reflected in Tosca. On the manual runs, it will get executed in there. So this is how the structure of the automations is going to be. I've expanded it and we have used the record translate ID to connect between these automations. I've set it up like, what is going to be automation, your second automation and your third automation. And then this needs to get enabled using the translate record ID. So you connect the automation B with the automation A so that the record gets mapped. The linking is actually structured between these hierarchies. So the final output will be sort of like this. When you create a Tosca test folder into Octane, the test suite in Octane will get created. And when the test case, when it's synchronized to the test manual, the manual test steps, which will contain the steps as well as the data or the values, like the step 1, step 2, what are all the test data that has been available, that also gets into the test suite. And Octane, as said, has got like limitations. We'll not be able to have the formatted pattern for that. So to overcome that pattern, because the way it is built is like it's on a tabled structure, But when you get it into Octane, Octane doesn't have a table structure. Tosca has a table structure, Octane doesn't have a table structure. So it has to get into the description field. So that's how we have implemented it. And then the execution test case log to manual run. I mean, this is again enabled via the translate record ID, which will synchronize your test case results into Octane. So this is what I've been telling, like, if you have, so this is your Tosca structure. So you will have a test case folders and then the test cases and then the test steps. For each test step, you will have something like a test data. So in Tosca, it's like more of a tabular structure, but when it gets into Octane, it will be more of like putting it into sort of a sort of description field or an RTF field. So we will differentiate with what each columns are going to be. So each test step will have the values in here. So the name, value, data type, input model that you'd see will be the headers that we get in from Tosca, and then you will have the corresponding value. So if there is a blank value, we will leave it as blank in here, and we'll continue to put the other values. So this is how the synchronization final look will be when you synchronize the test steps. As far as a customer, like this was their major requirement, this was their use case that we wanted to solve it, which we have implemented it, and it was even implemented way back in one of our patches, and it goes in 3.9. So there are certain limitations that we have on the API side, whatever the application gives us. So to sync the execution list to run suit is not possible at this point of time because we don't have a REST API for that. And there are also limitations on the Tosca side. We wanted to put this in here so that if there is any customer who's coming up with these requirements, we do have that limitations in here. We analyzed it if relevant APIs are available so that we can make it available on ConnectALL side. Because of the limitations that we have from the end application, these are the limitations that we have, and we have called it out here, which may help if there is a requirement coming from any customers on this. The other limitations that we have is like we don't support inline attachments, and because Tosca doesn't support inline attachment in their description. So if at all there is an attachment that is getting integrated, it'll fail. And also the field size on the name or whatever the field size is given, it is solely depends on the way the application supports. So if the application truncates, it will truncate. If the application doesn't support the maximum characters, it'll fail in there. So that was on the Octane implementation that we have done. Thank you.